Welcome to Faith, Family, and Four, where we are two parents navigating twins and homeschooling and working and all of the good stuff. So this morning, he's working. I have the day off. While the kids are having their breakfast and watching Human versus Hamster, I am going to do some homeschool planning. So let's get into it. All right, so I have my big cup of coffee to get this started. I use a plum planner. We use a teacher planner. It's homeschool. We customized. We have the kids' names down the side. All four of our children, even though two sets of twins, they are in different places. So we have on the side their names and then family subjects. And we have this broken down July to June because we school 4 days a week year round. And then we take nice breaks and things like that just because of our work schedule. So we have the coffee, we have the planner, and then I like the friction pens just because of the erasable aspect. So those are the key components for my homeschool planning. So let's get started. I always like to go back and look at the previous week. I use the friction pen that's erasable for all of the subjects. And then we always use a red pen just to make sure we've checked off all of our subjects. And we did really good last week. It was a good week. We didn't have too much that we had to throw off or anything like that. So we'll just dig right in. So my second graders have spelling, and so with spelling, they do two work pages a week, and then they write their words and they do a spelling test. So with spelling, we are 6, 7, okay. So we will do spelling for those two. On Monday, we're going to do a work page. Wednesday, we'll do a work page. On Tuesday, we will write spelling words. And on Thursday, that will be our spelling test. It seems to me that Thursdays, just because of the way that we school, we have a lot of our quizzes and tests. Now, I don't necessarily always use those for actual grades that are input, but I think that quizzes and tests are beneficial just to see if they are retaining the information and just how, do we need to go back and review anything from the previous section that we're quizzing or testing. But the kids know that this is not a full stop. The tests don't make your life. The quizzes don't make your life. So if they have had a bad week or they've had a bad section they don't really understand, we go back, we review it, and then they have the opportunity to retest. I don't think that there's any reason that they should feel like a failure just because of a bad grade. It's much more important to me that they learn, retain, and master. So that's important in our homeschool. All right, spelling for the second graders. Planned. All right, so like I said, our kids are in multiple subjects in multiple places. So for reading, for example, they have 2 different types of reading that we do, so I have to plan that out as well. So we will do and a lot of this is from memory. We are in second semester, 120 days in probably at this point. And so when I first started all of the planning for the new year with all of our new curriculum, I really wasn't sure how it laid out. But now we have done enough that we know, or I know, I guess I should say, and he knows as well. He does a lot of the teaching, I do a lot of the planning, so it's just how it works out. But we know how it's gonna lay out. So it works out really well for us. So we're in different places. So even though in some subjects we're on who knows, let's see, 103, lesson 103. In others, like this one, for my second grader, we're on lesson 62. So I never feel bad about where we end up landing. They're all in different places, and it's just really important to me that we meet the kids where they're at. So that's just my perspective. Oh, I was off by one. This is why that erasable pen comes in handy. And it's also important, we have a lot of open and go subjects. So teachers' guides that really give us a lot of insight, and even some of the teachers' guides even have things exactly what we're supposed to say. Do we always follow that? Not necessarily, but that's just our preference, that we really like that kind of thing. Perfect. And so the lessons correspond with his work text and also with the book, the textbook that he's reading. It's not really a textbook, it's a reader, but it will correspond with that. So if I have the lessons down and we look at that, then when we open our teacher's guide and know where we're at, we can tell him specifically, you know, you're going to be reading on these pages today. So that's the first second. Now I have got my big stack of books over here so that I can just start moving through this a little bit faster. So English for my big boys. We are rapidly coming to the end of second grade English. So 126. That doesn't seem like the end, but it feels like it's taken a long time to get here. So we'll take what we can get. There's the dryer. I hear TV and kids playing, and that is just the noises of mom and a happy, noisy household. All right, so they are learning right now how to write instructions. So time order words, things like that. It's really fun where we're at now. They learned how to write a letter, and that was really fun because we wrote the letter, and then we went to the post office. I went ahead and had them get a stamp. They had to write the to address and from and all of that fun stuff. So that was a really nice real world experience for them. So we're really enjoying English. All right. So English can be moved. All right. So right now we're reading, this is our novel, Looking for Home. This is a really cute one. It talks about looking for home is a story of two children and their widowed neighbor building a new friendship. They've all just moved, so this is really fun, and this makes the kids think. Some empathy in this book and things like that, so we're enjoying it as well. So we read chapter 4 last week, so I don't even know how many chapters there are actually. There are 10. We only read about 2 chapters a week of our novel study, and that's specifically because I have one child who is in a reading and speech therapy for some learning differences, and then we also try to go to the library and we get library books. So I encourage daily reading, but the novel studies we don't always do every day, just so that they don't get kind of overburdened. I think I want them to have a love for reading, just like I do, and that seems to be working really well. We'll look as they get older if that's going to change as far as how we do the studies and things like that. But for second grade, the daily reading of your choice plus the 2 days a week of the study has just really been working. So chapter 6. All right. So I'm going to be honest. I have not found a science curriculum that I'm in love with. Science seems to be the subject that is so hard for me. I don't know why. We've tried all kinds. So what we landed on for family studies here, and you can tell that I kind of pop around the whole planner. I don't go one child at a time. But what I found for family studies for now, we're using Science for Little Hearts and Hands from The Good and the Beautiful. Now, we don't use The Good and the Beautiful for really any other subjects, but the kids have been really enjoying this as they get older. I don't know that The Good and the Beautiful will work. I don't know. Just, you know, thoughts as we consider going forward. But I haven't found one I like. We tried Apologia. The kids got really bored with it. The same thing every week. We tried BJU. It was so much. The boys call it paperwork. So much paperwork. 5 or 6 pages a day that they'd have to actually fill out on top of the lesson. It didn't work. So, we've tried, gosh, what else have we tried? Daily Science. It was okay, but I just haven't found anything that really works. So, you know, maybe we'll get there. But for now, we're doing this, and this is just, we read to them, we read one of the stories out of the book, we talk about it, and then if it's something that we can like look up and get a YouTube video or something, that's what we do. It's just what's working for us now. So we do this as a family, and we do it pretty much every day. Just because it only takes a few minutes and it's not that in depth. So if they didn't do it every day, I would really feel like we're not even doing science at all. So any of you out there who have fantastic science recommendations, please send them my way, because I would love to find something that the boys could enjoy and that is a good combination of learning those things that they need to learn for science, but also not giving us too much work. We have 4, so I don't know what the next step is, but science has been a pain point and a struggle since we started homeschooling, so one of these days, right? Okay, so what else do we do? Here we go. Okay, so social studies for my 2nd graders. This week we're doing food for communities. Let's see, what did I do last week? We did it on Tuesday and Thursday. Social studies we only do twice a week. So that is, I do that opposite of the book studies. So Monday and Wednesday we do the book studies. Tuesday and Thursday we do social studies for the big boys, and that seems to work. So we're in lesson 7 in this book. That one is Food for Communities. And this next one is Farm to Elevator. Our kids have really been enjoying this because they're learning about communities in the United States and Canada, but they're also talking about farming and where our food comes from and community helpers, things like that. So I'm really enjoying this one as well. I hear brotherly arguments already. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that my 2 2nd graders are in 2 different reading programs. So I did the first one, and I need to add in the second one. So okay, so he recently started this one. It was a challenge to find one that would work for him. But this one seems to be working well. I might change it later on, but for another year. I'm not changing again before the end of this year. Not happening. Let's just make sure I don't need worksheets, printouts, quizzes, tests, anything. Hey Ben, I'm recording. What's going on? Let's do math for the big boys. Seem to be clearing my throat a lot today. We're on lesson 2 and a new line. So. And most of these are one lesson a day. So once I know where we're starting, it's pretty easy for me to just kind of pop it in the rest. Now, I've mostly been doing my bigger kids. So when I get to my first graders, some of our lessons are split into 2 days. So it's a little bit slower just because they don't all, I have to check and see if we have a place where we cut off or something like that. So they have a little bit less as well. They're younger and they're 6, so this is why we have the erasable pen. So let's check on our second graders and see what am I missing. Oh, one of my boys has, he has a speech class. And I'll put that on here because it is important and it is part of his education. Okay. Now, okay. I think we are at the end of second grade. So we have English, reading, math, social studies, spelling, science as a family, and then we have our first graders to go, and we have a few more family things that we do. So we're gonna move on to that. All right, so I forgot one for the second graders, so let's backtrack. We do speed drills, which I wrote down for them to work on their math facts, but with 2 working parents, we have found that we can't do it all. So we do outsource some things, and one of those is that we do DVDs for our true second grade math. So it's all laid out for me, so I just have to find the day that we're on, pull out any worksheets, things like that. And math is one of those things that I grade, and we'll talk about anything that they may not be getting. So far, we're 50-ish days in to second grade math. And I'm finding that, video 45, so, okay, so 46 days in, sorry. And I'm finding that it's doing a thorough job. So the boys are picking up the concepts, they're doing well on their assignments. When we talk, I try to talk to them about, what did we do today? And we go over it, it's working well. So if that ever changes, we'll reevaluate, and I might have to help teach. He might have to help teach, whatever we might have to do. But for now, this is one subject that they can sit. We have a TV with a DVD player up here in the corner. They can sit in here and do this, and we can be in the living room with the little boys. The little boys can be taking a break. They can do this while I'm working. I don't even have to be involved until it's over. So it works really well. So I forgot to include that one. So I can't believe I forgot that. Okay, so now that I've written that down, this is one of those subjects where I need to look and see if we have handouts. Do we have handouts? Potentially. Some fact review. Some fish. I don't know why we'll need, but we'll need them. And that's it. So I take out these handouts, I put them in here, and then if he knows to look for them. So I also have like tests and quizzes in here too. So anytime it's saying I've got a note in here for a test or quiz or whatever, he knows to check my little stack that we keep inside here. So it works really well. We've communicated that, and I know because I put him in, he knows because he knows to expect it. Or if he forgets, he'll send a kid into my office asking, what is this talking about? And I'll say, it's in the book. And it works. So, all right. So officially now, we're done with second grade. Let's move on. We're ready to start first grade. I will say that some of these things are not necessarily what we're going to keep. They just started first grade. They finished kindergarten at the beginning of February. They just started first grade. And instead of me going and buying all the things, we always attend a homeschool convention in May. So my goal is that we'll use this until May. Some of it we're going to keep, some of it we'll probably readjust when I go. I really like looking at the expo and all of that good stuff. So all that to say, this might not be what we keep, but it's what's working for now. So we'll start with first grade social studies. I don't even have a bookmark in this one. We're going to start here. Okay, this is supposed to be a quiz. I think that we might take it, but work with them with it. It's some writing that I think is beyond their ability. That sounds like they wrote it at night. Wait. Am I confused? I mean, it's possible. No, they have not taken that. So that must have been something they did in their lesson, because I remember hearing these things. That must be it. Okay, that's fine. Just making sure I'm not crazy here. And they do social studies 3 days a week. just because it's what I like. And they do quite a bit less than the other boys, so they don't want to do school, but they also don't want to not be like their brothers, if that makes sense. So they'll say, oh, we're done before you, but then if they're done too early, it's a big thing. So we try to balance our days. All right. This is one I will keep forever and ever and ever. You couldn't pry it out of my hands. All right. And this is one of those where it's broken down into 2 days, some of these lessons. So I just have to make sure, like, see right here. Okay. So this goes to here. It says end of first session, which means that's the first lesson. And then we will pick it up the next day. Why it's there? Okay. Okay. Fabulous. We are also at a point in this where we're starting something new this week. We'll see how it goes. So language arts, first grade. This is one of those that I'll probably drop when we go to that homeschool convention, maybe. But I'll probably drop this, and I'll pick up the phonics and English that my bigger boys have done. And we might even make that one a video too. So we might do a DVD with that just to give us a little break. But we'll see. We'll see how they do. You never know. They might actually love it. But I tried this with my bigger boys. It didn't work. It just didn't work. So we'll see how it does with these little fellows. And pages 1, 2. Okay. So this looks like it's going to be twice a week for us. It's been a while since we tried this with the bigger boys, and I had forgotten. So we'll see. I hope it goes well. It's mid-February now, so we have a couple months that they're going to have to do this. I just don't want to buy new curriculum, especially with us going into kind of latter into the year. They finished kindergarten really early. We went at their pace, but it just went a lot faster than I expected, and I didn't really have a game plan. So we fell back on these. The reading, I would never get rid of anyway. But thinking ahead, like, I know that we can get discounts at that convention. I can look at new curriculum potentially. Maybe something I don't even know is out there. So we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work, at least for a little while. So, all right. So their math is another one that I love. I love it. I love it. I love it. We will, though, of course, when we go and look at new curriculum, we'll look at math. I don't think that it will be one that I change, but sometimes you just surprise yourself. So we'll see. Where were we last week? This is another one. They just started. Like I said, they are on lesson 7. They're flying by. Like, it's wild. I generally have underestimated them in homeschool, to be honest. And they just shock me every day. All the kids have, all 4 of them. You know, as parents, we know all of our kids have specialties, and they just have things that they just blow your mind all the time, and they all do. So 8, never in my life cleared my throat as much as I have on this video, so. I don't know. Is it nerves? I don't think so, but what do I know? Okay. Eventually, they start doing the speed drills. This is the thing that I talked about for my bigger kids. I love the speed drills. The competitiveness, there we go, eventually, okay. I love it. You know, that mental math, all of that good stuff, so I really try to encourage that. I think it's a wonderful thing. Okay. So we have math, we have that. Like I said, they do a lot less than the second graders, but that'll all change probably once we reevaluate curriculum and stuff going, whatever. And then, what am I saying? Oh. Fantastic. Okay. Anything else? I don't think so. All right, so one more thing for my first graders. We are still working on All About Reading. We do the Learning to Read from Christian Light, and I love it. But I also love All About Reading. So they do too. And some might think it's overkill, and that's okay. But they love, so I really love how in Learning to Read, it's the activities, they are doing the flashcards, they are, they're learning spelling and physically writing things down on paper, working on their handwriting while they're doing it. And with All About Reading, they're working on, they really balance well because they're learning similar things, but with All About Reading, it has more of that kinesthetic activity. So they and my husband love to do this. So the activity book is, you can see it's well loved. We are pretty well through level 1, but they love this. So I don't want to get rid of it either. It's a few extra minutes a day, and they don't really have to do 2, but we just really like both. And we're not, neither, you know, he and I, neither one are willing to give either one up, so we love them both. So let's see, 34. So we're on lesson 34, and we do not do a lesson a day here. There are 53. I knew it was 50 something. 53? Yeah, 53 lessons in this book. We've been plugging away at this, but it's maybe 2 or 3 days to do a lesson. I don't make them do a ton of things. So, you know, if they do an activity or read something, or they do the cards and activity, I don't make them do it all in one day. It can be just too much. So we'll do that. We will. And some of them are super short. Like this one is a longer one. So I will split it up into 2 days, I think. And then we'll go into this one when we do the letter tiles. So 36, and they like the letter tiles. I have them on a bread pan. It is an easy way for them to just pop them on here, so we can move things around, and we like the bread pan. So I'm sure that other people do things really nicer, neater, and fancier, but this was $1 at the Dollar Tree here, and it works really well for us, so we really like it. Okay, that was the one thing that I had forgotten for my first graders, and I hate that because this is a really important one. So that takes care of all 4 individual, like all of the things they do individually. So I've already mentioned the science that we do. So that's already written down here in the little family section, but we also do Bible. So this is one of my kiddos' Bible. This is the one we read out of. See, it's in rough shape, but we read a chapter a day out of their Bible. And right now we're in Job, so for Job, it really would be Job, wouldn't it? I've always thought about that. Job would have an E on the end, right? But we all call it Job, so I just call it Job too. Anyway, it's my ADHD kicking in. All right, so we also do this 1 year Bible for children. We tried out, I got all the Sunlight things. I think I got American History A or something along those lines. Anyway, it didn't work out perfectly for us, and that's okay. We enjoyed some of the things we read, but this 1 year Bible for children is one of my very favorite things that came out of that. So we have been plugging away at this. So we're like in May, but we're reading 1 or 2 a day. So, Bible. And what I love about this is that it has where it comes from. It has your text, but then here at the bottom it talks about remember the things that were in this text, and then discover. So it's some questions about what happened, and it's some critical thinking questions, and then application. So how can you apply this wisdom to your life? So and it's appropriate for kids. So the questions are really good about some things like getting in trouble, or listening to your parents, or doing what God wants you to do, things like that. So this has been one of my favorite ones. It's not truly a curriculum, but it works perfectly for us. So and then lastly, I mentioned my struggle with science. I also have a pain point in history. We just haven't found anything that I love. We live, they live, anybody lives. So what I did was I got I think this is the 2nd grade reader from Abeka, and we've just been reading through this. So, and in this reader, there are a lot of questions. Think about it, songs to sing. So if there are songs, I'll look them up on YouTube or whatever. And then, some history about, who wrote these songs or whatever. And it's all things that they've learned in here. So this is working well for what we need it for. They're young at this point. We're doing social studies, so I haven't put much of an emphasis on history anyway. I don't want to overwhelm them or put too much on them or us. So this has just worked really well. So I'll go through here and I'll write down a couple pages to read at least this week, and we'll go from there. But with this is all of it. So you can see here that it's not too bad. It's not overwhelming, and I write everything out. I spell everything out, so it looks like more. But you saw everything that we do. With him working today, I'm off. Then next week on the school days, I have to work. So he will be teaching all next week. And then the week after that, it'll be the opposite. So I'll schedule school on the days that he works and I'm off, so that we don't have a set, we school 4 days a week, but we don't only school certain days. Sometimes we have to do it in the evening if both of us are working. So sometimes we do, all kinds of things. So we just have to find the balance. So, there's just no way that we could do regular school hours and make it work. And we don't even, there is no such thing as 8 hours a day school for us. That we could never make it work. A couple hours a day, and they have everything done. And then they have time to be kids. They have, I limit screen time, I limit electronics. But outside of that, they have so much freedom in just being kids. And that's really what we enjoy. On top of like having them home with us and being there, providing for them, but also providing their education as well. So, I mean, all that to say that this is possible, and this is how we do it as two working parents. I plan, he'll do the teaching. If he has an appointment or he needs to go do something for work or whatever, I can pick up in the evening for anything that gets done. He's really good about getting done during the day. I'm more likely to pick up in the evening. I go on more field trips, and we do random things, library visits, things like that. So, but we make it work. So that's what we want our channel to be anyway. But this has us planned for next week, ready to go. The only thing that I have left to do is our Bible verse of the week, which they memorize. So last week was Romans 6:23. Sin brings death, but God's gift is eternal life. And I put it in a little box in this corner of my planner. So then I'll find whatever Bible verse they're going to work on next week. I try to do something short and simple. And we are done homeschool planning. Thanks for joining.